Hello everybody, it's Wendy, and today we are going to make a necklace using products from the Jesse James Magical Mystery Bead Box for December. So first of all, our encouraging word for today is say yes to new adventures. Keeps life exciting, right? Okay, so this is the Magical Mystery Bead Box for December. It is Winter Carnival themed, and what we're using, we've mixed a couple of the different things. So this tassel is from the Winter Carnival tassel little collection there. And they had a lot of pretty ones, and I love this blue fan tassel, so we're going to use it. We're using the, that was the tassel set in Winter Carnival. We are using the silver bauble chain. That's this one right here. This is a chain from my own stash. It's just a little tiny curb chain. You can get these on Jesse James' website. Just a tiny little, actually, that is not just a curb chain, is it? That may not work. I'm going to have to pull out a different one. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. That chain was a twisted kind of braided chain almost, and that would not have worked. So here's what I've pulled out. Just a tiny little, you can use any tiny chain, but you have to be able to get a jump ring through the links. And I couldn't have on that other one. So I've pulled out that chain from my own stash. And like I said, Jesse James' website has all kinds of tiny little chains. So any chain with little links you can put a jump ring through will work. I have one eye pin. I have these 4 beads, let's see, these 2, and I believe possibly these 2, all came out of the Quebec City bead mix. Okay, so Quebec City, then all these blues right here and silvers came from the Palace de Youville strand. So that's this one. And actually, this little guy, this little drop right here came from the bead mix in Ice Palace. Okay, so I've mixed a bunch of stuff. These came from my Jesse James bead soup, metal bead soup, and this is just a Jesse James toggle. And then we have 2 bead caps, some wire guards, and some 2x2 crimp tubes, and a bead bug, because we're definitely going to need that. I've got some jump rings here. And then we're going to be using some 7-strand bead stringing wire in satin silver. Okay, you see that? It's kind of like a, there we go. And some 7-strand bead stringing wire in satin gold. Okay, so we're going to use gold and silver. We're mixing metals in this project today. So gold and silver. And I think that that's all you're going to need for this whole thing. I think. Okay, so let me see. Yeah, okay. That's all you're going to need, I think. If there's something else, we'll pull it out. So here are my tools that I'm using. I will show you those. I am using, and everything is tangled on this wire over here. I'm using a bent needle nose plier, 2 regular needle nose pliers, a crimper. These are all from Xuron. My cutters are from a company I cannot remember. They were giving them away free. All you had to do was pay shipping. And then these are Bead-A-Lon little round nose pliers. So those are the pliers that I like, and that's probably what I'm going to use today. Okay, so the first thing that we want to do is we're going to create our focal. And to do that, we are going to use these 3 beads out of the Palace de Youville strand, and these 2 rondelle spacers out of the Quebec City. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. Let me fix my camera. We'll do some zooming. Okay, I'm trying to make it so everybody can see what I'm doing. So I've been told that you can't, and so I'm trying to remedy that. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is take this little sparkly rondelle and put that on there. Then we'll do our rhinestone rondelle, our large hole bead, our next rhinestone rondelle, and our next little And what we're going to do is kind of straighten this out here. Now these large hole beads, they sit better if they have a bead going down inside of them, but I don't really have one that I wanted to use for that. So we're just going to wrap it with a wrapped loop tightly so that it will sit like we want it to. So bend this 90 degrees, just like that. And I know it looks all wonky right now, that's okay. Take your round nose pliers, and it doesn't need to be a large loop at the top, okay? It can be just a small loop, but come up and over, rotate those up, and come right on underneath here. Now, when you have something kind of in the way of your bead, you may need to take your pliers and pull this to make your loop right. Straighten everything up. So there's our little loop. Okay, I'm going to take my bent nose pliers, tweezer nose, and I'm going to hold this. I'm going to straighten it up as much as I can right now, but it's going to have to be after I wrap it a little bit. So wrap down towards your beads. Okay, now you can straighten this a little bit and make it sit like you want it to, because you've got some tension going on it, and continue to wrap down toward the bead. Straighten it up. That guy may not work for this. I thought it was going to, but it may be too slicky. And continue to just wrap down towards your beads. And what you're trying to do is get this tight so that it won't pop out from the middle, but he is not cooperating at all, is he? Yeah, he's really not wanting to cooperate. We may end up having to put a bicone in there or something, because I don't really want it to look like that. All right, so trial and error. You learn things. So let's see what other beads that we do have that would work for this. I don't think there are any in this kit. There are some square beads, these cubes, but there are no bicones. Well, there are some big bicones, but I don't want to use that big of a bicone. So, in this case, we zoom back out, and we're going to take this apart because this is not going to work. So this is what happens when you're designing. Sometimes things just don't work. And I'm going to go to my bead soup. So, my Jesse James bead soup. Here's my dark blue. And what I do is when I get done using some of the beads, like say I have a bead mix and I'm done using them, then I will, you know, and I know I'm not going to use them for any more projects for that month or the next month. I keep them out for a couple of months just to make sure that they don't ask me to, you know, put something like that I've used, you know, that's been in the past kind of back in. So I will go to my bead soup and I will put everything, I'll separate out all the colors and put them in the bead soup. There's no bicones in the dark blue bead soup. So let's see if in my gold bead soup, where's my gold bead soup? We have a bicone. Let me find my gold bead soup here. Okay, so these are gold medals, gold and copper, and I see a copper bicone. Really could use a gold bicone right about now. That shouldn't even be in there. Neither should that. Why are those in there? Okay, so I don't really see anything in the gold, so let me try the gold beads. So I have metal, and then I have gold beads. And I'm looking for my gold beads. I do have a solution if I cannot find, I can't even find my gold beads right now. Hold on. Okay, so I can't even find my thing of gold beads. I don't know what I've done with it. Problems, I'm telling you. But when all else fails and you need something to fill in the large hole bead, a bead cap will work. Okay, So I'm in my bead cap bead soup at the moment, and we are going to look for a bead cap that will work for this. That would work, and see, we can set this bead right in there, and that will hold it all into place. I'm just making sure I don't have anything that I love even more. Here's a very deep one, but that bead won't really work in there. It kind of does, but I don't know. I don't think I like that. So I think we'll go with those two. They look pretty good. Or here's one that's kind of deep. That looks good. I really wanted to use these rhinestone rondelles here, but I don't know that they're going to work at all with this current situation. If I had a flatter bead cap, maybe. Something like that. But that's probably not going to help the whole... Yeah, those are not going to work for this. Okay, so there's a good one too. I think we're going to go with that one though, just to be safe, because I'm not sure those curved ones or the real deep cone ones are going to work out so well. All right, so there it is. All right, so, you know, improvise, guys. When things don't work out like you want them to, then you improvise. You make something else happen. All right, here we go. We've got our eye pin. Let's zoom back in. Okay, here we go. So we're going to do this again. We are going to take our bead, then our bead cap facing down. Okay, then we're going to put our large hole bead on, just like that. Then our bead cap facing up. And see how putting those two bead caps in the holes of the large hole bead, it makes it sit like you want it to. And then we're going here with this one. I really wanted to use these guys. We may incorporate them somewhere else, but this is going to have to work. Okay. Then we're going to bend this 90 degrees, and we are still going to do the wrapped loop because we want that wrap to hold everything in place. Using our small little loops here. We're going over and under and around. Okay, so there's our little loop. And then we're just going to take this and we're going to wrap. And you wrap down towards your beads. You want the wrap to go down and hold the beads in place. Straighten them up if you need to, and just keep wrapping till they're on there pretty tight. And that is how you can use a large hole bead and it works with bicones too. Gonna tuck that in, and there we have our little focal. Okay, just like that. Now, I debated, I am going to hang this guy from here. So let me get a jump ring. And I'm mixing metals throughout this whole thing. And the reason that I'm doing that is because this tassel had gold on it. Okay, everything in the Palace de Youville, I hope I'm saying that right, bead mix had silver. But I wanted to use this with it, but it really bothered me that, we're just hooking this all together right here. It really bothered me that that tassel had gold on it. I know that's like so OCD, but it did. It just really bugged me. So I decided to incorporate gold and silver together. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Gold and silver metals mixed. And I do love that. I don't have a problem with it at all doing it. I just had to kind of work around that little conundrum there for a minute with myself. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to figure out, let me get this toggle out of the way, how we want things to lay. Okay, now I'm going to have to zoom out or you guys aren't going to be able to see what I'm doing with this whole thing. Okay, so I know I want these kind of up at the top here, and we're going to use these flat pieces, and this is a different technique, but we're going to use these flat pieces. So I think I'm going to put these two gold beads right here. Now let me see. Yeah, I'm going to put those there. And then I'm going to start in with these. Now watch this. This is going to be really cool. So we're going to alternate these all the way up the sides, just like this. Okay. We're going to do another one. And because it really bugs me that there's all the silver and not gold up in here, we're going to layer these. So take these little guys. These are the ones that I just pulled out of my Jesse James spacer bead mix, metal bead mix stash. Whoops. What's wrong here? Okay, nothing. All right, and we're going to do that, okay? And I'll show you how we're going to do it and make them lay right here in a minute. And I may use these up here. I think I could. I really do want to get those in there. They're so pretty. Okay. All right, so now you're going to take your bead stringing wire. And you need a fairly long piece of it. I'm going to take the gold and the silver together here. And I'm going to go, I'll measure this in just a second, but you've got to have enough to go in and out of these beads a couple of times. So let me measure this and tell you how long I just made it. Okay, 12, 24, about 26 inches is what I've cut. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to bead bug this one end. You want to come down a little ways so you have room to crimp and bead bug your one end, just like that. And now I'm going to take this with both pieces of wire. I've got them together. I'm going to go through this gold bead. And the gold beads, again, were from the Quebec City mix. Whoops, I did not get my gold through there, did I? Are they not even lengths? I thought I had cut them even. I am going to trim that little silver piece down because it's got a fray on it and it's going to make it really hard to get through anything. Okay. Let's do this again. There we go. Okay, so put my gold bead on, both pieces through the bead. Same thing here, both pieces through this bead. Oh, do I want to use? I do want to use this rhinestone rondelle. Both pieces through there, then both pieces through the bead. Okay, so there's what we've got. We've got both pieces going through our three things there and a little room here left to crimp. Now, what we're going to start doing, we're going to take this piece layered with its little guy right there, and we're going to separate these. And we're going to take the gold one and go from the back through to the front of both pieces, like that. And then we're going to take the silver one and go from the front through to the back. And then you pull them. Okay, make sure nothing's twisted up, like that gold piece is through itself. And it's going to lay these like this. See how it's going to lay them flat? We're going to do the same thing with this one. Now the silver's on the bottom. So we're going to take the silver and go from the bottom up through to the top. And we're going to take the gold and go from the top down to the back. And these flowers do have a front and a back, so you want to make sure that you're putting them on the same way every time. And then we're going to pull. And there it is. And you want to scoot this up just however close you want it to be. So I want mine to sit right about like that. Okay. Now our silver's on the top. So I always start with the bottom one. You're going to take your bottom gold, go up through the bottom, your top silver, and go down through the top of this bead. And then pull. And hope that everything doesn't get tangled up in it. Okay, so there it is. And just pull it up as close to that bead as you want it to be. They'll sit better when we get everything strung on. You know, they won't be flopping around. All right, so here's our next one. Our silver's on the bottom, so we're going bottom to top through that bead. Gold's on the top, we're going top to bottom. Pull it up. Right where you want it to sit. And I just space them out evenly, that's all I'm doing. Gold's on the bottom. We're back to our double layer here, so we're going bottom to top, like this. Whoops. Then our silver's on the top. So again, we're going top to bottom. And it's a little fiddly, but it will go. There we go. And if you find that I always pull them up in between each one, space it like I like it, keep everything laying flat, so because that puts your bottom on the bottom and your top on the top like you want it to be. Okay, so here we're back to this blue one. Our silver's on the bottom, so we're going up through the bottom to the top. Gold's on the top, going down top to bottom. Okay. Pull it tight. Okay. Just lay it where you want it to go. Now, you could do this with anything. You could do this with leather. You could do this with hemp cord. You could do this. Soft flex beading wire would be the best thing to do it with, but I didn't have any in gold and silver. But that would be the ultimate thing to do it with. And then we're going this guy. Gold's on the bottom, so bottom to top. Silver, top to bottom. But soft flex would be the best thing. I only had it in like a turquoise blue, which didn't really go with this, and a white. So I just decided to use the bead stringing wire since it was in colors. We'll see how it works. I've never done this before. Just going to scoop those up like I like them. Okay, now we're going to put them together again. And we're going to go right through. Do I have? Yeah, okay. We're going to go right through the gold bead, just like we did on the other end with both pieces. Okay. Then we're going to string on our focal. Make sure you string it on the right way so it hangs in the front. If you don't, we can always twist it around later, but I try to do it right the first time. Stringing it just through both pieces, like that. Did I get it on backwards? Let me pick this up. No, okay. All right, stringing it right through there. And then we're gonna string both strands again through this gold bead over here. Well, come on now. There we go. Through there. You have to make sure that you get through the middle part of these. And some of these beads are kind of hard because they're hollow. But let me even up my bead stringing wire. Come on now, don't be difficult. And go right through. There we go. Okay. Just like that. Now we're back to where we were. Our gold's on the bottom, silver's on the top. So we're going to go bottom up to the top, top down to the bottom. And pull. Just like that. And we're just going to keep stringing this side the same way we did the other side. So bottom up to the top on this one, top down to the bottom. And all I'm doing in between each one is I'm making the days right, and I have put that one on wrong. I've got him on backwards, so let me fix this. Let me take him off and fix him. Just keep everything spaced out like you want it. In the end, we'll put it all together. It won't move, you know. So what did I do wrong here? We've got the silver on top, so top down to the bottom. Gold, bottom up to the top. That's what I thought I did a second ago, but maybe I didn't. Let's see if it flips. If it flips, then I'm going to be having to switch it around. No, it didn't. I just did it wrong the first time. Okay. It's usually user error. Okay, now this one, so we've got these two. So this one's layered, so we're going bottom up to the top. And top down to the bottom. Just like this. Okay, and there it is. Okay, and we're just going to continue doing that all the way up the side, and when you're finished, come on back. Okay, so I've got both of mine strung just like I want them. You can move these beads a little up and down if you want, just make sure they're all evenly strung out. One way to not have to do that would be to take a bead and put in between each one of these, put both strands through a single bead, and then they wouldn't move at all. But I kind of just like this look. So here's what we have. Super cute. All right, now we're going to hook this onto our chain. And we're using two colors of chain because we've got the gold and the silver going, and I just like that. I think it's cute. So we're just going to take our chain and just double it. Now you have to decide how long you want this to be on you, okay? So this one, even though it's got a tassel on the bottom, I don't think I want it to hang like super long. I think it would look weird if it was really, really long. So I'm probably going to just make it about, I usually do my necklaces that I don't want to be like tassel or opera length. I usually do them about, I don't know, 21 inches long. So let's see what we've got here. Where'd my ruler go? My desk is a mess. So I'm just going to measure from the bottom of my tassel up here. We've got about 8.5 inches. Okay, so 8.5 to 21. Let's see, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13. So what is it, 12.5 plus 8.5? No. Why can't I do this in my head? 12 plus 8 is 20. Yeah, 12.5 plus 8.5 would be 21. That's right. Okay, I don't know why that didn't seem right to me. Okay, so I need, if I've got 8.5, I need 12.5 inches of chain here to get to be about 21 inches. So I've got, there's 12. I'm probably just going to cut it at 12 because I don't want it to be too long. So I'm probably just going to come right here. Whoops, even this up really good. And then come right about here. I'm just going to eyeball it. It's not that huge of a deal. I can always add an extender if I need to. I kind of want it to be on the end of one of those though. So we'll go about right here for that one. Okay, so there's one side, and then I can just even these up. I'm making sure on this chain that I use, like it's got these little hearts in between the little circles. I want to get the circles on both sides. I just want to make sure that it's the same. This one doesn't really matter because it's the same all over, but the other one I want to make sure that I cut them the same. All right, so there we have it. Doesn't have to be micro, you can just like eyeball it. All right, so we've got one for each side. Now what we're gonna do is, I think if we can, we're gonna crimp directly onto this chain. So I'm gonna take this, let me get my crimp and my wire guard. I don't know if the wire guards are gonna work on this chain. They're not, so we're probably gonna have to crimp onto a ring. Let's see, do we have anything here? Like that would be kind of cool. Do I want to do that, or do I just want to crimp onto a jump ring? I'm just going to crimp onto a jump ring. So I've got my little jump rings here. These are just some little oval jump rings. I'm just going to crimp onto them because I don't want to get too crazy with the other stuff. All right, so, and the reason I can't crimp right onto the chain is because the ends of the wire guard here will not go through that teeny tiny chain. So let me zoom back in. All right, now we're going to take our crimp tube and we're going to put it over both pieces of wire, just like that. We're going to take our wire guardian and put both pieces of wire in it. They should both fit. Okay, you come up and over. Just like this. Both pieces of wire in the other side. You may have to shove it a little, but they will both go. They're 7-strand, they're not thick. Okay, now we are going to put our ring on, jump ring on. Okay, and then we're going to go back down through this crimp, and I'm going to go down through these beads and come out the bottom if I can. Okay, just like that. And then I'm just going to pull this so that it sits where I want it to sit, which is right about there. Okay, now this needs to come up, so we need to pull it. And you just have to kind of even all this stuff out right here, right now. How you want it to be. And I don't want this big space here. So I'm just taking my plier and holding that and pulling till it comes up tight. Now I like to take my crimpers and smash this little wire guardian together. It makes things look neater. I've always done this. I just prefer. Oh gosh. Okay, there we go. I just take them and smash that in. It just makes it look better, I think. Okay, and then let's space these out to where they're the way we want them. Okay, that's looking good. Now, we're going to take our crimping plier. We are going to lay this crimp tube in the back divot, the back little dent right here of our crimping plier. See it? Right there. Okay, we're going to lay this in here. And we're just going to firmly crimp down. And what that does is it creates a little ridge in the middle, and both of these wires are in their own little channel. Then we turn this 90 degrees. I always use this, see our little plier, how it has the 3 little divots in the top. I always use the second one. It's for, I'm using 2x2 crimp tubes most all the time, so that one works really good. And we just close it up. You set it in there and close it right up. And there is your little crimp. Now, let me just tell you, if you're not using good quality crimps, you're going to have trouble. I learned that the hard way. We're going to trim this off. Good quality crimps are usually made by Bead and Soft Flex, not by the Chinese companies where you can buy them in bulk. I know it's tempting to buy them in bulk, but let me tell you, you're not going to get good crimp that way. They don't work. They break, and I don't know, they just don't work. I don't know why, but that's the way it is. So we're going to do the same thing over here that we just did there. I am going to trim this wire down. So I did have way too much wire, but I'll use that in other things. I use it in tassels. I use it in all kinds of stuff. So let's go ahead here. And we're going to put, again, both pieces through our crimp tube. Just like that. Let it fall. Both pieces through our wire guardian. Up and over. And through the other side. Okay, just like that. Just kind of straighten everything out. And then we're putting our jump ring right on. I know I could open it later and put it on, but I'm just going to put it on right now. Why not, right? Okay. And then we're going to pull this down. We are going to go back through the crimp tube before we pull it down, because it's a lot easier to do it now. And through these beads, whoops, if we can. Back down through the crimp tube. And through the beads. they both coming out the bottom? Yes. Okay. So let's try to unflip this. There we go, just like that. And I'm going to go through this guy because I did on the other one. We'll just keep it consistent. All right. Pull everything. Let's get these down where we want them. We want that to come down here. Okay, now I'm just going to even this all out. And this is meant to look a little bit eclectic, kind of boho, so you don't really, it doesn't have to be perfectly even, but, and they can, you want the chain to show, that's, or the wire to show, that's the whole point of doing it that way. So we're going to come pull this a little bit tighter. There we go. And just even things out like we want them to be. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to take my wire guard, take my crimping pliers, and close him up. Okay, just like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to crimp. I'm going to take my plier and put it right in here. Crimp that down. Turn it vertically. Now see, sometimes you might crimp and it doesn't make the little indent in the middle. I don't know why, but you need to do it again if it didn't. For some reason, if it didn't make that indent, go ahead and make sure that it makes the indent in the middle. Mine didn't for some reason. That time it did. I don't know if I just had it weird or... because it won't close up if you don't have that little channel in the middle. There we go. Okay, let's straighten this back out. Trim these off. And I think I am going to use the crimp bead covers. So I've got these two gold ones here. And mainly just to keep this crimp from going down into the bead here. I don't know if it would, but it might. So, and these are always a challenge. Some people say hold them, put them in your crimping plier here. I don't know. They're always a challenge for me, no matter how I do them. Try to get that jump ring out of the way. And I'm just going to put it right over the crimp. It's like a little Pac-Man bead. And put it right on. And see, I didn't get it over top of the whole crimp. I'm just terrible with these. I really am. No matter how I do it, they are a challenge. Alright, let's pull him back open because I closed him up there a little bit. Thankfully, they are very soft, malleable metal. And you can do about anything with them. Just seems like I never can get a good grip on them, even if I try to use my crimping pliers. Okay, get him on there. Make sure he's all the way on, and then try to close him up. What the heck did I do that time? There we go. I got him. Okay. Man, yeah, I don't like using them, but they do look better, and it's going to keep that crimp from going down in that one bead if it would. Okay, same thing here. Put this little guy on. Helps if you scoot that bead down, just get it out of the way for a minute. There we go. All right, that's better. Okay, there we have it. Now, we're going to hook our chain on. So just take your chain, open your jump ring here. Okay, and hook the chain right on. Please tell me that this jump ring will fit through that. There, it will. Thought it would, but you never know. Okay, make sure you close this up really good because that thin little gold chain will come right out if it's not closed up really good. Okay, so there is what we've got. Same thing on the other side. And this little gold chain, so tiny. Okay. There's what we've got. Now, at this point, you want to hold this up to you. Whoops, I'm sorry, I'm trying to zoom out. You want to hold this up to you and see if it's the length that you want it to be. Okay, because now would be the time to fix that if it's not. And yeah, I think it's about where I want it to be. I like these a little bit long, not super long, but a little bit long. Okay, just adjust that if it, there we go. All right, so now we're going to put our toggle on. So just lay your chains out here, make sure that they're even. See, I'm going to have to trim just a little bit because I just eyeballed it a minute ago. But just lay your chains out, make sure they're even and straight. Actually, that one's pretty good. And so's that one. That one I might trim a couple lengths off just so it's not... Actually, they're good, I think. So I'm going to take another jump ring. I did not need to dump out the whole thing, did I? Okay, and my toggles. And I'm just going to go ahead and attach the toggles. So I'm just going to do the same thing I did on the other end. You just take your jump ring and just attach both pieces of chain. Maybe. Little gold chain's going to be difficult. Why? Why are you doing it? There we go. Toggle bar. Okay. Toggle ring on this side. It doesn't matter which side, I don't think. I don't think there's any like rule about that I know of. For the toggle bar being on one side and the ring on the other. Same thing with lobsters. I don't think there's any rule. I've never heard if there is, but I just always stick them on. It doesn't really matter to me. Whoops. Okay, and there you have it. Make sure that's closed up good because that chain will come right out of there. Looks good. All right, so here it is. And I think it's a pretty cool necklace, to be honest. I really do like it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my light box and show it to you. I'll be right back. Okay, so here it is in the light box. I love it. I think this is one of my favorite things that I've ever done. Yeah, love the gold and silver. Love the navy. Navy is one of my favorite colors. So this turned out so cute, I think. So again, check out Jesse James Beads. This is the Magical Mystery Bead Box. And of course the chain you can get on their website, the wire you can get on, everything you can get on their website pretty much. All of this is Jesse James Beads, even though some of it is from my stash from a while back. It's still all Jesse James Beads. So check them out. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. It's free. All you have to do is click the little subscribe button and it helps me out so much. It really does. I have an announcement video I'm going to link below that tells about a contest I'm doing, auctions I'm doing, giveaway and stuff like that. So check that out and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.